Hello there everyone, it's Carol from the Crafty Emporium. We're on to the last two videos of the concertina album stroke journal stroke whatever. Just a couple of things that I didn't cover with this on the previous video was that once you lift that up to decorate it up yet, but I added the strips onto each of those little folds that we did, and I even added one here because this was printed out a different colour to this because of the coloured paper that I printed it on. So this one was printed onto cream card and this one was printed onto white, but it just helped to sort of blend the two together. So as you can see, it just helps to get rid of that white that was showing as well. And the other thing that I did was one of the pockets that's in the kit, I cut it out and I chopped its height down, and then I sort of eyeballed where it needed to go so that it was underneath the last one, and so that it didn't hang beneath this last one and it didn't cover over the magnet at the bottom. But it's a neat little place to just hide a little something in there. Of course you could just add a picture on the back there as well if you so wanted, but I just added the little pocket. Now you can't fill that pocket up too much because it just gets too bulky, and then these start to bow because of the depth of how much you've put in there. So mind that you just don't put too much in if you decide to add the pocket underneath. Whew. I almost said that all with one breath then, didn't I? Okay, so we're on to the last two pages of the journal. Now, what I did on the previous one, oh, wrong side, Carol. There we go. Was I added a pocket on this side and I added a bar stroke belly band on the top of this one. The other thing that I did was I added in it this trifold tag. So I'm just going to talk to you about the pocket and the bar, and I'm going to show you how I made the trifold tag. Okay, so from the kit I use these pockets, and you just basically cut out the shape. And yeah, I'm doing it by hand. You can of course do it on the paper trimmer. Like I said previously, there's just something sort of quite therapeutic about doing a bit of hand cutting sometimes. I'll get rid of that. And then I'm going to cut out the little squares at the bottom. And then I'm just going to taper off those corners of each of those three flaps. And it just gives it a neater finish. Now you could put that into your score pal and you could score each of those lines. I'm just going to fold them over because I'm lazy. And the bottom one as well, so I'm going to move those two out of the way and then fold the bottom one up. And of course you can then use your bone folder that I always conveniently leave over the other side of the room. I'm going to get two. I need to buy another one. I'm going to leave it here so I can't forget it then, can I? Okay, so just open those back up again. The way in which you stick these down is you put those two flaps in, the two side ones, and then you put the bottom one up, and then whenever you put anything in the pocket it doesn't catch on this bottom one. Alright, I can see I've just got a little bit of overhang there, so I'm just going to trim that down a little bit further. Yeah, that's better. And then I'm going to ink it up again with my black soot. Going to use my thin nozzle PVA glue, my tacky glue, and I'm going to place glue on each of those flaps. Now if I put it underneath this bottom one, that will help that bottom flap to stick to the side flap. And then that can be stuck on the bottom there. Now you will need to just check the width of your pocket to make sure that it fits onto your page. You may need to just trim the sides down slightly so that it does fit. Okay, so that's my pocket now ready to fill. And on the original one, what I did here was I just put some lace on and I put some trim on, and I cut the shank off the back of the button and then stuck the button on. Now in the kit there's some tickets, and I just cut these out and concertinaed them and just hung them over the edge of the pocket. So you could add little sayings on there, so you know, like the Tim Holt sayings, so you could add sayings on each one of those that have a meaning to you, or you could use your stamps and stamp some numbers on so that they look more like authentic tickets. You can of course cut those off individually and position it on your pocket, and again put some words on it if you wanted, and maybe a little flower on top of that. But it's again about you using your own imagination on what you can do with these things. And then of course on the back you've got somewhere where you could write things as well, so you could write maybe a little saying on the back of each of them, or put little teeny tiny photos on, words that mean something to you, the names of people. Again, it's just about you using your imagination. Here I had a brown paper doily. I cut out one of the bigger circles and stuck that onto the front of the doily, but I put the lace on the back of the circle before I layered it all on top of the doily to make it look pretty. How many times can you say doily, Carol? Here on the back I just added a strip, cut out some circles of paper, and with my punch, and it's my punch. that's the universal symbol for punch. And then slotted some lined papers underneath there so I could write some little notes on that. And I also cut out the other pocket from the kit and put one of the cabinet cards in it, and have that as a free floating pocket to add into another pocket, because we love a pocket. Okay, so let's go on to the triple tags. So at the moment these tags have got this pointed top, so if I just cut one out to show you, what I did was I just followed the cutting line to cut out one of the tag shapes. And then I just cut straight across to give me a straight end tag. Now I'm just going to cut out another one, because I know how much you enjoy watching me just cutting out. There is a reason why I'm doing this, by the way. just in case you think I'm wasting time. I tell you, it's really cold and frosty here. Other parts of the country here in the UK have got snow. We haven't got snow, but we have got freezing fog. And excuse the condensation on my windows, I'm just going to show you, look. Ooh, how cold does that look? Don't like the look of that myself. Okay, so I've cut out the other tag, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit them together and line them up, and then I can use this first one as my guide so that I know that they're the same height rather than trying to guess. Okay, so now those two are the same as each other, and then I'm going to ink them up. Move that out the way. Because I'm going to stick these onto black card. Now I could use this as a template for cutting out any papers or cards that I want on the inside. So let me get the original out again. So on the original, I put the paper on the inside and I did the two pattern tags on the outside. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these as a template to cut out from here. So I could use my pencil. Oops, come on. And I'm going to butt it up with the edge of the design there. So then that's two lines I haven't got to draw. And I'm just going to draw around that. Oh, alambance. Now I'm going to cut inside the pencil line because the pencil edge was away from the edge of the tag that I just drew round. So I'm just cutting it out just inside the pencil. But again, you can just use lined paper, so then you've got somewhere to write, okay? And again, just ink it up. And this can then go on the inside. In fact, I better just check, hadn't I, that it's the same size. There's me, happily inking away. And it could be totally the wrong size. Let's just check. Yes, perfecto. Okay, get me a bit of black card. Move that out the road. And then let me just stick that one on there. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to use my collal glue. And I'm going to stick the one down on the right hand side. Now don't do it just yet because I might have got this wrong. Because I might have gone on the left hand side, but I think I did it on the right. Okay, paper trimmer. It's there. And I'm going to cut along the top edge. And I'm just going to eyeball the gap that I've got here to make sure I've got the same gap at the other end. Let me move that up a bit. Didn't quite put the camera back as it was, did I? There we go. So I'm just going to eyeball from my wire to the edge of the patterned card. Make sure it's butt up against this lip. I've done it now. And then I'm going to use my score pal. Now I'm not going to butt it up into the corner because I don't need the measurement for it. But I'm going to butt it up against this top edge and sort of eyeball, just choose one of the notches. I'm just going to eyeball the space. So that when I fold it over, I've got that little lip of black card there as well. Okay. Now that's in situ, I can now, along this edge up here, I can now eyeball where the next fold needs to go. So I'm putting this edge here within the space of where the fold is going to go. Alright, so I'm using the 4 1/4 one. So that will now fold in. Okay. Yep. So now I can measure the width of this, or the width of that one, which is 1, 2, let's have a look. 1, 2, 2 5/8. Okay. Get rid of that. Paper trimmer back out. And so that crease mark that I've just made, I'm going to place on my 2 5/8. 2 5/8 measure on there, and then I can trim that bit off, but I will just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one, Carol. Once I could have visualized 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you know, that's one of the things we talk about quite often in my classes, is that all those songs that you sang as kids, you know, all the skipping songs, and you know, when you threw the balls up against the wall and stuff and you did rhymes, we kind of have forgotten those. Right, now then, as you can see, when I go to fold that over, it's catching on this edge, so I need to take a slither off that. I need to take another slither off. Just a touch. Because it's got to fit inside. That's better. Okay. So let's just make sure that that fits on there. It does. Wonderful. So now I can stick that one on the left hand side. In fact, I'm just going to take a sliver more off that. I've got it quite straight. That's what comes with hand cutting. There we go. Lovely. Now the next thing I can do is I can cut off here. Now I'm going to cut off less so that I've got a bigger border, because I want to make sure that I've got it the same on that one. So I'm now going to see how it's cut it thin there. So I'm just going to trim a little bit more off there. I'm going to trim a little bit more off there. I'm going to trim a little bit more off there. So that one goes on the inside, that one goes on the inside of there, and then I can trim that little bit off there. Touch more. Okay, so I've now got my trifold tag booklet, and then I'm going to put that one in the middle and leave these two empty. Okay, so I've now got a trifold tag booklet, and you can punch a hole either all the way through all 3 layers or just do the top one. That's my postie. Won't be a minute. I can't put my video on pause. Hello? Okay, come in. Sorry about that, I'm back. Got some parcels. I don't have pause on my phone. Just waving at the postman. I don't have pause on my phone. To be able to pause you. So I'm sorry you had to sit there for a minute. Whew. I'm out of breath now. Okay, where was I? I can't believe I had to do that. Sorry. So punch some holes in the top, and then you can just add that little bit of fluff just on the front one, because obviously if you put it through all 3 holes you won't be able to get into your tag. Can't believe I'm out of puff now, but I can. Breathing problem, Carol. Okay, let's get rid of those bits. I'll get rid of you, and that will now then slot in that pocket. So for this page here, I just did a strip across the top, and I put some brads on the strip before I actually stuck it onto the actual page, and I just put glue on the back and attach that to the page. Now the big tag itself is, come out. It was just a piece of leftover paper, and because of the way in which there's this background image on the back here, I just thought it made a really nice big tag, but it'd be great to put a big picture on the front of that, wouldn't it? And then of course you've got a pocket that you can add to the back, add some writing paper in there as well, and then you can write about the photo that's on the front. So again, I would just add the strip across there. Now it can be the same as this background paper, it can be one of the patterned papers. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to add the brads either, but I just thought it gave it a nice touch, and I cut the paper down so that it was roughly the same size as the background page, and then I attached that piece of paper then onto a piece of black card so that I've got this border edge around the edge, and on the back I attached some lace at the bottom of the pocket but hung it down so that it showed through at the front as well, and then I added some seam binding and some fluffy across the top just as a bit of decoration. Made the envelope out of tracing paper, but instead of sticking the 2 sides and the bottom down, I did the top and bottom and one of the sides so that it made the really long envelope. And that's that. So we've got one more video to go, and then it's moving on to the next series after that. Okay, I'll see you all again in a little while, and I'll see you in the next video. Apologies again for the postman. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.